Hello everyone! Today I'm gonna review these two controllers sent by Flydigi, the Vader 2 Pro and the Apex 2. The Vader 2 Pro is the best cost-benefit gamepad, while the Apex 2 is the premium experience. If you want to see the review for the Vader 2 Pro, click on the link on the top right corner. Let's begin the unboxing. The Apex 2 is the premium experience from Flydigi, and you can already see that in the box. The controller comes inside a carrying case, and you also get a manual. The quality of the carrying case is amazing, and it is really solid too. And here's the Apex 2. It already comes with a mobile clip installed. Let's unpeel this sticker and oops, there's a little bit of glue here. Ah, come on, this glue is already ruining the unboxing. But that's nothing to worry, it easily peels off. Okay, with all that glue removed, let's continue the unboxing. You can position the mobile clip in two different ways, more on the center or on the top of the controller. It is very springy and it will really hold your phone well. You can easily remove it too. The best thing of the Apex 2 is these sliding buttons here. They feel amazing, they are springy and smooth. I thought that they will feel like a circle pad from a Nintendo 3DS, but seriously, this is on another level. And take a look at this. The buttons have clicky switches, but it is different from regular clicky switches from other controllers. You can even hear the difference in the noise they make. The D-pad also has clicky switches, like an Xbox controller. And the front buttons are also clicky too. Basically, you have clicky switches everywhere on this controller, there's no rubber membranes here. And in the sticker you have the different button combinations to change between the connection types. On the top, sadly the triggers are not analog triggers, they are just digital. The connection type is USB Type-C, And you have 2 more shortcut buttons here. So counting all of the shortcuts, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shortcuts. And if you count these 2 here on the front, 9 and 10. 10 shortcuts in a controller. This blew my mind. The analog sticks are removable, and the gamepad comes with 2 sets of different heights that you can mix and match together. The sticks are firmly attached to the controller. They won't be removed easily. You can even hold the controller by the analog sticks and it won't fall down. With the 2 extra sticks that comes in the box, you have 3 different heights of analog sticks to choose from. And do you see this metal ring here? It is a bit loose, and the reason for that is to ensure that you'll have a smooth 360 motion on the analog sticks. It also prevents wear on the base of the stick. And when you're doing circular motions, you can see that metal ring rotating. The on-off switch ensures that the controller won't turn on by itself when pressing the buttons while fumbling around in your bag. And it's not over yet. You can detach the front face of the controller, and inside you'll find the 2.4 GHz dongle, which will guarantee that you have a super fast lag-free connection. And on the other side you have this. Imagination will take you everywhere. This here is a lock mechanism that you can place on the sliding buttons. When you close the panel, the buttons won't slide at all. It turns into a normal controller. They are really tight in place. It won't move. Moving back to the carrying case, you have a pocket used to store the USB Type-C cable. The cable quality is very good, and it's pretty long too. You also have 1 more extra pocket to store whatever you want. And the support for the analog sticks is also removable. With this extra space, you can even store a small power bank together with the controller. The clip leaves a spot open to connect the USB Type-C cable. You can leave the clip on and charge or play with the wired connection with no problem. And just to show how well it holds your phone, let me test it here. The analog sticks won't snap to the X and Y axis. And the D-pad diagonals aren't accessible by holding only on one direction. When connected to your computer, the Apex 2 will be detected as a D-input device, and you can press the pair button here and activate the Air mouse. And that's pretty useful to navigate using only the controller. When using in the D input mode, the sliding buttons will act as the right stick. And by holding the pair button and the select button, you can switch over to X input. In the X input mode, the sliding buttons will act as the left stick instead. You can also download the Flydigi PC Space App. In the app, you can switch between 4 preset configurations by pressing the pair and back button. You can adjust rumble intensity and 4 different presets for the RGB lights. Alert is constantly on, Hunt will light up when you press the buttons. Float is the traditional rainbow effect. And Hide will breathe between 2 colors you choose. On the Key tab, you can remap any button, including the shortcuts. And for the shortcut buttons, you can record your own macro. On the Joystick tab, you can calibrate the sensitivity of each analog stick. And in the Sensing tab, you can bind the gyro to one of the analog sticks. The default mode is used for shooting games. The cursor will always return to the center when you move it. By selecting Permanent Out, the cursor won't return to the center. This mode is best suited for flight controls. You can activate a button press to function as a toggle key or a hold key to activate the sensing option. On your smartphone, you can use the Flydigi Game Center app. When installed, all you have to do is select your gamepad in the list and connect to it. The app will need some permissions, but nothing too invasive here. All of the permissions are to ensure that the app will store your controller configuration, and also allow the app to show an overlay over the game you are playing. On the app, you can change through the different color layouts and test the controller. You can also read the manual through the app and update your controller. And here's where the Apex 2 show its most interesting feature. It has 2 modes of operation on the smartphone: Flash Play and Classic Mode. Classic Mode is like any other controller that you can connect to your smartphone. But on Flash Play mode, it will simulate touches on the screen by using the inputs on the analog stick and buttons. And I know what you're thinking. There is already an app capable of doing this, the Octopus app. However, the Octopus app has many invasive permissions and many of its features are locked in the premium version. And seriously, the Octopus app doesn't have as many customization options as the Flydigi app. You'll see that just ahead. Let's take a look at the app's capabilities while playing Wild Rift. Wild Rift is a really complex game, with tons of buttons and functions to use. But with the Apex 2, I can do almost everything with ease. Here I'm leveling up my skills, and with the sliding wheel, I can aim and shoot with the push of a button. It makes a total difference in games like this. You have precision and speed. And not only that, you can cancel the aiming with the push of a button.
Not a problem.
You can do it really fast, there is no lag here. By pressing the left button, I can peek at any section of the map just by tilting the left stick. I can press one of the back buttons to easily communicate with my team. With the help of the sliding buttons, you can point objectives on the map. Placing wards is also super easy. If you spot any danger, flash and heal are on the tip of your fingers and easily accessible. And I remapped the home button to do a recall and return to base. With the D-pad I can quickly buy items too. And if I want to explore the store, I can activate the air mouse and navigate without the need to take my hands off the controller and use the touchscreen. On Wild Rift you have 3 buttons for attacking, one for regular attacks that will prioritize champions, other for minions, and other for structures, so the right trigger is mapped to target minions only. And right next to it the M5 shortcut will target towers or structures. Hitting the attack button will target the closest enemy to you, but if I need to target a specific enemy, I can hold the L trigger and that will instantly remap the B button, which is a skill button, to the attack button, and I can use it to precisely target the enemy I want. And pressing the R3 button on the analog stick will reposition the camera, allowing me to have a better view on teamfights. And by pressing L3 I can quickly snap back to the original position. So now I'll show you how you can achieve this result with the Flydigi app. The extra features of the Apex 2 are mostly used for MOBA games. So the footage that you will see now is from the Vader 2 review. Every functionality that you see with the Vader 2 can be also used with the Apex 2. But if you want to see all of the exclusive functionalities of the Apex 2, jump to this timestamp here. By pressing select on the controller, you will bring up a panel with all of the buttons that you can enable and position on the screen. And here you can see the controller is mimicking touches on the screen. For the left stick, you can calibrate the radius, and the delayed response of the stick.
It's nearly time for afternoon tea.
You can also enable return radius, which will add a dead zone, and that doesn't allow the controller to fully return to the center. You can enable a button, and when you're moving the stick and press it, it will double click on the screen. You can enable a button to switch the radius of the stick, and this will allow you to do more delicate movements while holding the button down. So if I'm holding the L button, I can easily walk through narrow spaces, and when I release the button, it comes back to full speed. The perspective mode enables a constant touch on the screen. This is perfect to changing the camera angle, especially when playing shooting games.
Yesterday as well.
Could it be true? What I've heard.
There is a nice advantage when using this. When you are playing with touch controls, you have to keep dragging on the screen, like this. But here, as long as you hold the analog stick on the desired direction, the camera will keep rotating.
Could it be true? What I've heard.
The button mode basically turns the analog stick into a D-pad. When you move it around, it will enable 4 directions. And the fixed mode is similar to the first mode, but differently from the first mode, the dead zone here is in the center. Now let's see what the button inputs can do. As expected, the buttons will register a touch on the screen in the place you've positioned them.
There'll be plenty of time for work later.
Could it be true? What I've heard.
But here you have options for continuous touch, which is basically a turbo function.
The healthiest drink.
Wine is a healthy drink.
The instant option will press the button only once, even if you hold the button down. And by release is similar to instant, but it only activates when you release the button.
Wine is a healthy drink.
Now let's check the first-person shooter settings. Sensing view registers a continuous touch on the screen, like the analog sticks, but in this mode it is linked to the gyro controls. You can also control it with the right stick.
It's nearly time for afternoon tea.
You can also enable a toggle function too.
Is a healthy drink.
The sensing shoot is different from the normal sensing view. When you release the button, it will always return to the center where you positioned the button initially. As the name suggests, it should be mapped to the shoot button, so you can keep firing and aim your camera freely. If you keep pressing the button in sensing view, for example, the touch position won't recenter and you won't be pressing the shooting button. Auxiliary shoot is a mode to disable the recoil of some guns in shooting games. Notice that when I keep pressing the button, the touch position will go down little by little. And this is made to counter the recoil movement when you are firing constant shots. The drive on and off is similar to the instant feature. It seems to be implemented to avoid bugs in some games. Let's see now the exclusive functionalities of the Apex 2. On the Apex 2, you can use the sliding buttons alongside the left and right sticks. You can use the sliding view in the perspective mode or button mode. And although this symbol has X, Y, and B on it, it refers only to the sliding mechanism. You can still individually configure different functions for the buttons, and it won't affect this configuration. On the MOBA tab, you'll have a new and exclusive ability wheel linkage function. When you activate this option, you will combine a button press and analog movement in a single command. You can change the radius of the ability wheel. And the anti-mistouch radius will protect from accidental bumps on the buttons. It won't protect 100% of the time, but it really helps on most cases. Here's the comparison with the slider set to 0. Just like with the analog sticks, you have a change radius button here. And you can select the amount of the radius that it will switch to. The reverse option, as the name suggests, will revert the up and down axis. Using the left linkage will bind the aim to the left stick.
Don't get cocky.
And the right linkage to the right stick. A good example of using the right linkage is to map the ultimate button, which is the right shoulder button. This way you can easily aim your ultimate, and you can do it while moving in any direction too. The smart linkage allows you to change aim using a different stick. For example, if I'm using the left stick to aim, I can move it with the right stick and it will also work. I can also change it to the button slider too. Keep in mind that once you've changed the aiming stick, the other two will be deactivated, and that the right stick and the ability wheel will always prevail over the left stick. The cancel skills feature is also interesting. You know when you have to cancel your skill and you have to drag your finger over a particular spot on the screen? It is really slow and awkward. Not to mention that you can easily miss the spot and accidentally cast your spell. But here, all you have to do is set a key and drag it over the precise spot.
Don't get cocky.
And you can cancel your skills 100% of the time with the push of a button. The view map function will simulate a touch and drag controlled by the right analog stick. But you can also set it to the button slider. I use this feature to easily select my pings in game. And the attack button will simply work as a normal button press. Now these were all of the Apex 2 exclusive features. I'll resume showing the rest of the functionalities from the Vader 2 video. And the swipe button will simulate a swipe, simple as that. The fly mouse function will enable an air mouse controlled by the gyroscope, and you can click with the right trigger. You can set it to activate on toggle or hold, and you can control it with the right stick also.
I created another universe and founded paradise. For I, Fischl, am the Prinzessin de
Guess where you're from.
Straight on in.
The macro function allows you to configure a particular set of swipes or motions on the screen, and it will always repeat when you press the button.
Guess where you're from.
You can set it to work on release,
Why not keep me company for a while? There'll be plenty of time for work later.
and by using press repeat, it will repeat as long as you're holding the button down.
Guess where you're from.
You can also set a cancel key to cancel the macro at any time.
Guess where you're from.
It's nearly time for afternoon tea.
And besides having all of the shortcuts available, you can even set button combinations.
Straight on in.
Guess where you're from. Guess where you're from.
So for example, if I'm holding the left trigger, the A and right trigger will activate two different regions on the screen.
Today's no good for going out.
And this is it. This is all of the functions that you can use with the Flydigi app. This app is insane, and paired with the controllers, it's a mind-blowing experience. Just to give you an example what you can actually achieve, here is my full configuration for Wild Rift. I'm not kidding, I spent 4 hours configuring this. All of these buttons on the screen are individual functions that you can access using only the controller. Here I have movement, recall, air mouse, flash and heal in the back buttons, all of my main skills tied to the sliding buttons, and the ultimate is tied to the right stick, attack button, minion button, tower button, if I'm holding the left trigger, the B button will change to the attack button for targeting a single enemy. Also, if I'm holding the left trigger, the X, Y, B and right shoulder buttons will level up my skills. The start button is to set wards and it's linked to the left stick. If I'm holding any skill button and press the left trigger, the skill will be cancelled. And notice here that the app knows the difference. If you're holding the left trigger and press a skill button, it will level up your skill. But if you're holding the skill button and press the left trigger, the skill will be cancelled. I use the C button to do a quick danger ping, and the M4 back button to select different things and point them out in the map. The left shoulder button will quickly show the middle of the map. And by using the right stick, I can easily look at any point of the map. I can even position the stick first and then press the L button and it will instantly go to that region. With the M6 button, I can choose different emotes. And while holding the M6 button, if I press start, I can see the match details. Playing League of Legends or any MOBA with this is a whole different experience. It's something that's not achievable with any other controller. League of Legends is such a complex game that I would never imagine that I would have all of the functionalities in a single gamepad. Oh, and I forgot to show this. If I use a skill and it's on cooldown, I can hold the skill button and press this key and it will ping on the chat my cooldown for my teammates. Let's compare it with the touch buttons. Oh, and by the way, you can disable the buttons overlay on the screen to have a clean UI. While using touch controls, just by trying to move and look at the map at the same time feels terrible. And it's not precise at all, taking you away from the experience. For example, if I try to ward a bush and spot danger and try to flash away, look how slow it is. By the time you released your ward, you're already dead. But now, with the Apex 2, it is much faster. And this is not only for League of Legends. You can use the Apex 2 to play seamlessly any mobile game, with the best experience possible. From Call of Duty, to Genshin Impact, to Pokemon Unite, Brawl Stars, and many more. And there's more. You can register your account at Flydigi and upload your configurations to the cloud. With this, you can even get your friend's phone, download Flydigi app, and play with your controller and your configuration. You might need to do a bit of repositioning if the screen size is different though. Still not amazed? Then how about this? You can actually connect to the big screen and play Wild Rift or any other mobile game on your couch using the Apex 2. And now for probably the most interesting part of this review, let's tear down the Apex 2. Similarly to the Vader 2, you have to remove these three front buttons and unclip the shell. And once inside, you can already see that the battery is a 650 mAh battery. Again, easy to unplug and replace if you need to. And you can already see the sliding mechanism in the works. I disassembled the first part, and here's what you have under it. And here you can see how the potentiometers read the inputs. And take a look at this. This is a kill switch. If you're a PC gamer or are into PC gaming, you'll know that the kill switches are famous for their high quality and high durability. So I have no doubts that this will last for a long time. And the good point is that the traditional kill switches are easily replaceable, unlike those SMD switches. Those are used in the C and Z buttons, unfortunately. The RGB LEDs are here, and you also have the start button close to them. Here's the switches for the left and right shoulder buttons, and the brand of the analog sticks is Alps. Sadly, we know these aren't so good, as all of the current gen controllers drift a lot, but I can understand, as those are probably standards in the industry right now. The D-pad is in a separate PCB, and you have rubber membranes protecting the C, Z, and other buttons too. And here is the sliding buttons removed from the controller. This is the farthest that I will go, as I'm sure that the mechanism inside here is very delicate and I don't want to destroy it since this is such a nice controller. But let's do it like this. If this video reaches 100,000 views, I'll tear down every single component of this controller. So if I break it, I can buy another one. And lastly, the analog sticks connection is the same as any other controller. And that's it. This is probably the longest review I did in this channel. And after seeing all of those details and all of those features and components and everything that Flydigi did in this gamepad, I don't even know what to say. The attention to detail is perfect. And I couldn't find flaws with this gamepad. Aside from the triggers not being analog triggers, I have zero complaints on this. It is a bit pricey indeed at $91, but it's worth every penny that you invest in this gamepad. It's capable of doing things that not even the current gen consoles can do, and it completely transforms your mobile gaming experience. And if you're from Riot Games and you're watching this review, seriously, you gotta make an agreement or something and release a special edition of the Apex 2 with the Wild Rift theme. There's already 2 special editions of the Apex 2 with the Gundam theme, and they look amazing. So why not have a League of Legends theme of this controller? Especially because the Apex 2 completely transforms your experience while playing Wild Rift. I'd even say that this is the official way to play Wild Rift on your smartphone. And after this long review, I have to crown the Apex 2 the king of gamepads. Okay, I'm done talking. And that's it guys. If you liked this video, share it with your friends, help me out by subscribing, liking the video or leaving a comment. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.